U.S. President Donald Trump has imposed an additional 25% tariff on Indian imports of Russian oil, citing national security concerns. The move comes after India pushed back against the U.S. administration's targeting of India over its ties with Russia. The White House said that India is currently importing Russian Federation oil, and as a result, articles from India will be subject to an additional ad valorem rate of duty of 25%. This decision follows Trump's previous threat to substantially raise tariffs on India last week. An active shooter incident with casualties has been reported at Fort Stewart in Georgia, according to officials. The incident occurred in the 2nd Armored Brigade Combat Team area, and law enforcement is on the scene. A lockdown has been initiated at the base, which is located about 40 miles southwest of Savannah. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp expressed his condolences for the victims and their families. A 33-year-old woman from Manhattan, Martha Nolan-Oslatera, was found dead on a boat docked in Montauk. Police were informed of the death at midnight and are investigating the cause and manner of her death. An autopsy will be performed by the Suffolk County Medical Examiner's Office. 3 Democratic New York City federal lawmakers, Reps. Adriano Espaillat, Nydia Velázquez, and Daniel Goldman, were reportedly trapped after being rebuffed by agents at the Metropolitan Detention Center, MDC, in Brooklyn. The lawmakers attempted to gain entry to the facility, which holds up to 100 illegal immigrants with no criminal records, according to State Senator Andrew Gunardis. ICE officials claimed that the 7-day advance notice requirement for congressional visits was necessary to prevent interference with the president's authority. However, this is the 3rd time in recent weeks that lawmakers have been rebuffed at federal holding facilities, sparking controversy over immigration policies and access to detention centers. Social media users are questioning the different reactions to singer Beyoncé's new jeans ad with Levi's, released days after actress Sydney Sweeney's American Eagle campaign sparked outrage. The controversy surrounding Sweeney's ad accused it of promoting whiteness and good genes. In contrast, Beyoncé's ad has been met with praise for its artistic expression. However, some users are pointing out the double standard in how both women were treated for their ads. Reps for Levi's and Beyoncé did not immediately reply to Fox News Digital's request for comment. Conservation educator Forrest Galante recounts a harrowing experience while filming for the History Channel in Myanmar, where he and his team were threatened with life imprisonment after breaking the law by using an illegal drone. Galante's team had to strategically break down their equipment and hide it in backpacks to avoid detection, but their sneaky operation was eventually exposed on CCTV. They were forced to ditch the drone and weigh their next steps, including calling the U.S. Embassy for help. The team had to strategize again to stagger their departure and fly out of the country in pairs to avoid suspicion. Galante's account of the ordeal is a gripping tale of risk-taking and survival. Shane Tamura, the 27-year-old gunman who killed 4 people in a New York City office building, had multiple encounters with law enforcement before the shooting. Bodycam footage released by Las Vegas police shows Tamura being questioned at a casino in September 2023 and refusing to leave after winning money. In another incident, first responders entered his apartment for a health evaluation after his mother called 911 to warn of his suicidal behavior. The videos raise questions about whether authorities could have intervened earlier to prevent the tragedy. Minnesota Vikings wide receiver Jordan Addison has been suspended 3 games for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy after he pleaded no contest to a lesser charge in a 2024 DUI case. Addison, who had 63 catches for 875 yards and 9 touchdowns last season, will miss regular season games against the Chicago Bears, Atlanta Falcons, and Cincinnati Bengals. U.S. President Donald Trump has accused Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer of extortion for holding up his nominees in the Senate. The standoff has left over 140 nominees pending. with Republicans considering a rule change to block Democratic filibusters. Trump claims Schumer is demanding $2 billion in funding for the National Institutes of Health and foreign aid in exchange for approving the nominees. Senate Majority Leader John Thune has expressed support for changing Senate rules to approve Trump's nominees. A New York City crime expert has expressed concerns about the potential impact of Zohran Mamdani's policies on public safety in the city. As a state assemblyman, Mamdani supported bail reform and discovery reform that have made it less likely for perpetrators to be prosecuted and held accountable. Mangwal also pointed out that Mamdani's past stances on policing, including his support for defunding and dismantling the police department, could lead to problems for security in a city. Jack Osbourne shared a heartfelt tribute to his late father Ozzy, featuring candid photos and video footage of the family throughout the years. The 39-year-old son honored his dad's memory by sharing a quote from Hunter S. Thompson that read, "Life should not be a journey to the grave with the intention of arriving safely in a pretty and well-preserved body, but rather to skid in broadside in a cloud of smoke, thoroughly used up, totally worn out, and loudly proclaiming, 'Wow, what a ride.'" Ozzy Osbourne died on July 22 due to cardiac arrest, acute myocardial infarction, coronary artery disease, and Parkinson's disease. The family announced his death, stating that he was surrounded by love and asked for respect of their privacy at the time. President Donald Trump signed an executive order on Tuesday that formed a White House task force for the 2028 Summer Games in Los Angeles. The task force will coordinate federal, state, and local government work on transportation and streamline visa processing and credentialing for foreign athletes, coaches, officials, and media. USA Today columnist Nancy Armour likened Trump to a toddler in her column, saying that LA 28 is letting him think he's an integral part of the event, where his only real role should be that of a figurehead. The Russian and Chinese militaries practiced destroying an enemy submarine during joint naval drills Wednesday, just days after President Donald Trump moved a pair of nuclear submarines toward Russia. The drills involved Il-38 planes from Russia's Pacific Fleet and Chinese Y-8 anti-submarine aircraft in the Sea of Japan. Iconic radio host Howard Stern faces an uncertain future at SiriusXM, according to multiple reports. The legendary shock jock, who has seen his influence fade in recent years as he embraced woke ideology, could exit the satellite radio provider after a 20-year run when his contract expires late this year. Stern's catalog of past shows could remain on SiriusXM, airing as replays. Stern, dubbed the King of All Media, exploded onto the scene in 1985 and attracted tens of millions of daily listeners on terrestrial radio before jumping to Sirius in 2006. Nowadays, he reportedly attracts only 125,000 daily listeners. Actor Michael Rapaport has come to the defense of actress Sydney Sweeney, who faced backlash over her American Eagle ad campaign. Rapaport criticized those who have bullied and harassed Sweeney, saying, "Who cares who she voted for?" He also spoke out against people who bully female celebrities in general. Sweeney's recent collaboration with American Eagle sparked a mix of reactions, with some dubbing the campaign as tone-deaf, due to alleged racial undertones. The actress has not commented publicly on the backlash. Vice President J.D. Vance is hosting a strategy dinner with senior Trump administration officials, including U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel, to discuss how the administration should handle the ongoing Jeffrey Epstein fallout. The meeting comes after weeks of unsuccessful attempts by senior Trump officials to quell mounting public pressure to release more information related to the Epstein investigation. Fox News recommends using hex-clad pans to simplify back-to-school meals. The 6-piece hybrid fry pan set is on sale for $399.99, 25% off, and includes 3 different sized frying pans and lids. Other options include a 12-piece pots and pans set, a 10-inch hybrid fry pan, and a 4.5-quart hybrid deep sauté pan with lid. Easy recipes like salmon with rainbow veggies, crispy Parmesan air fryer Brussels sprouts, garlic chicken thighs with honey and rosemary glaze, and 5-ingredient chicken pot pie are also provided. Mark Halperin, a political analyst, revealed that the Biden team is prepared to release unflattering stories about Kamala Harris if she comes after him in her new book, 107 Days. The Biden administration attempted to prepare Harris for a potential presidential run, but found she wasn't ready for prime time, according to Halperin. If the Biden people feel threatened, they will hear stories about Harris as vice president that won't make her look good. The Caribbean islands of Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Lucia are offering citizenship by investment programs, also known as golden passports, to wealthy Americans. The programs allow investors to obtain citizenship by making a direct contribution to the government or purchasing pre-approved real estate, starting at $200,000. This trend is part of a larger movement of high-net-worth individuals seeking safe havens and tax-free environments. In recent months, 189 golden visa applications were received in New Zealand, with nearly half submitted by U.S. citizens. Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin condemned the county's soft-on-crime policies after a repeat offender, Andres Caceres Jalden, was caught on camera trying to snatch a toddler from her family at a Virginia mall. The incident occurred 3 days after Jalden was released from jail on his own recognizance in connection with a hit-and-run. Youngkin stated that Fairfax County's policies have led to the release of criminals back onto the streets instead of keeping them behind bars, putting children's safety at risk. Representative Ralph Norman, Representative RC, is calling on his state to join the growing fight over the country's congressional maps. With eyes on the one Democrat in his delegation, Norman wants the South Carolina General Assembly, which he argued is more in line with the Palmetto State's Republican majorities in the State House and State Senate. The move comes after Texas Republicans pushed to create a new congressional map that would give the GOP as many as 5 new seats in the House of Representatives. Actress Kelly Mack, known for her roles in The Walking Dead and 911, has died at the age of 33 due to cancer. Born Kelly Lynn Klebanow, she passed away peacefully on August 2nd in Cincinnati, Ohio, surrounded by her family. Mack had been battling glioma of the central nervous system since January and had shared updates about her health on social media. She was a passionate filmmaker and held 5 producer credits, including the critically acclaimed horror feature On the Black. A celebration of her life will be held on August 16th at the Glendale Lyceum in Ohio. Senate Democrats are feverishly recruiting top candidates to win back the majority in the 2026 midterms, with a focus on key battleground states such as North Carolina, Ohio, and Georgia. Former 2-term Democratic Governor Roy Cooper of North Carolina has declared his candidacy for the Senate seat being vacated by retiring Republican Senator Thom Tillis. Democrats also view former Senator Sherrod Brown of Ohio as a potential candidate to flip a red seat blue in 2026. In other states, Republicans are facing primary challenges that could potentially weaken their chances in the general election. The Trump administration has canceled the Lava Ridge Wind Project, a 1,000-megawatt wind farm with up to 231 turbines across nearly 57,447 acres in southern Idaho. The project was approved by the Biden administration's Bureau of Land Management in December 2024, but was met with criticism from local officials and residents, who expressed concerns about its potential impact on low-flying aircraft and rural communities. Interior Secretary Doug Burgum called former President Joe Biden's approval of the project thoughtless and vowed a return to lawful energy reviews. The Trump administration cited crucial legal deficiencies in the Biden administration's approval process, including the failure to adequately review the wind farm's potential risk to low-flying aircraft. The article discusses the possibility of deep state actors including former CIA Director John Brennan, FBI Director James Comey, and ODNI director James Clapper, facing indictment for their roles in the Russia collusion hoax. The authors argue that these individuals knowingly lied under oath, deceived government agencies, and manufactured false documents to frame President Trump. They also mention Hillary Clinton's involvement in the hoax and her campaign's approval of the scheme. The article suggests that a grand jury may be convened to assess the evidence and potentially issue indictments. White House envoy Steve Witkoff met with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow on August 6, 2025, as part of a last-ditch effort to secure a peace deal and end the 3.5-year war in Ukraine. The meeting was described as useful and constructive by Russian foreign policy advisor Yuri Ushakov, but no specific agreements were announced. Witkoff's team did not comment on what he hoped to achieve during his visit, although some reports suggested he may have sought a moratorium on airstrikes. The meeting comes after President Donald Trump threatened to impose very severe tariffs on Russia if Putin does not enter into a deal with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky within 50 days. However, Trump later walked back his threat, saying he never specified a percentage for the tariffs.